The first thing Lena Rossi noticed was the silence. It was the kind of silence that didn't belong to her small apartment or the noisy streets she was used to. When she slowly opened her eyes, she found herself staring at a ceiling painted with delicate gold patterns. Confused, she pushed herself up on the enormous bed, the soft black silk sheets sliding off her shoulders. Her heart began to race. This wasn't her room. The scent of expensive cologne lingered in the air. Lena turned her head and froze. Beside her lay a man she recognized instantly from whispers across the city. Adrian Vescari. The Mafia boss whose name alone made people lower their voices. His dark hair was slightly messy, and one arm rested casually across the bed as if he owned the world around him. Panic flooded Lena's chest. What was she doing in his bed? She tried to slip out quietly, but the mattress shifted slightly. Adrian's eyes opened slowly, sharp and observant even through sleep. For a moment, he studied her as if confirming she was real. "You're awake," he murmured in a deep, calm voice. Lena grabbed the blanket, holding it tightly around herself. I think there's been a mistake." Adrian didn't look surprised. Instead, he reached out and gently pulled her closer before she could react. His voice dropped into a quiet command. "From now on, stay." Lena stared at him in disbelief. Her birthday had ended with laughter and music. Yet somehow she had woken up in the bed of the most dangerous man in the city, and he was acting as if she belonged there. Lena's heart pounded as Adrian's words echoed in her mind. From now on, stay. The command felt unreal, like she had stepped into someone else's life. She quickly pulled away from his grasp and slid to the edge of the bed, clutching the blanket tightly around her shoulders. "No," she said nervously, shaking her head. "I don't even know how I got here." Adrian slowly sat up against the headboard, watching her with calm, calculating eyes. Unlike Lena, he seemed completely relaxed, as if waking up beside a stranger was the most normal thing in the world. "You don't remember anything?" he asked. Lena frowned, forcing herself to think. The last thing she clearly remembered was her birthday dinner with friends. There had been laughter, cake, and a small bar where they celebrated late into the night. After that, everything felt blurry. "I remember a party," she said carefully. "But not this. Not you." Adrian studied her expression as if measuring every word. Then he sighed and ran a hand through his dark hair. "You found me in the hallway," he said quietly. "Someone poisoned my drink. I collapsed before my men could reach me." His gaze softened slightly. "You were the only one who helped." Lena blinked in shock. "I helped you. You stayed with me until the doctor arrived," Adrian continued. "You refused to leave even when my guards told you to." Lena struggled to process it all. She had saved a Mafia boss without even realizing it. Adrian leaned forward slightly, his voice calm but firm. "That's why you're here. And why I told you to stay." Lena stared at Adrian, trying to decide if he was serious or simply used to people obeying him without question. The room felt too large, too quiet, and far too dangerous for someone like her. Slowly, she stepped away from the bed. "I helped you because you were in trouble," she said, her voice shaky but determined. "That doesn't mean I'm staying here." Adrian's eyes followed her every movement. There was no anger in his expression, only a strange calm that made Lena even more uneasy. "You think you can just walk out?" he asked quietly. "Yes," she replied, though she wasn't entirely sure. She spotted her shoes near the door and hurried toward them. Just as she bent down to pick them up, the door suddenly opened. Two tall men in dark suits stepped inside. Their presence was intimidating, their eyes sharp and watchful. Lena froze. "Boss," one of them said to Adrian, "we checked the cameras. Marco's men were seen near the party last night." Adrian's expression darkened instantly. "I expected that," he replied. The men glanced briefly at Lena, clearly surprised to see her there. She felt their suspicion immediately. "I'm leaving," Lena said quickly, slipping on her shoes. Before she could reach the door, Adrian's voice stopped her. "If you walk out that door right now," he said calmly, "Marco's people will find you before you reach the end of the street." Lena slowly turned back toward him, confusion and fear mixing in her eyes. "What do you mean?" she whispered. Adrian met her gaze steadily. "I mean," he said, "you saved my life last night, and now my enemies know your face." Lena felt the room spin slightly as Adrian's words sank in. "My enemies know your face." Her fingers tightened around the strap of her shoe as a chill ran down her spine. "That's not possible," she said quickly, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'm nobody. Why would they care about me?" Adrian slowly rose from the bed, his tall figure suddenly making the room feel smaller. Despite the calm look on his face, there was a sharp tension in his eyes. "Because you were with me," he replied. "And in my world, anyone close to me becomes a target." Lena shook her head in disbelief. Just hours ago she had been celebrating her birthday with friends, laughing over cake and cheap drinks. Now she was being told that dangerous people might be looking for her. "This is insane," she whispered. "I have a job. A normal life. I can't just hide in your mansion because of something that might happen." Adrian stepped closer, stopping only a few feet away from her. "It's not a might," he said quietly. "Marco D'Angelo doesn't miss opportunities." The two guards exchanged uneasy glances at the mention of the name. Lena looked between them, realizing this wasn't some dramatic exaggeration. These men truly believed she was in danger. "What am I supposed to do then?" she asked softly. Adrian studied her for a long moment before answering. "For now," he said calmly, "you stay here where I can protect you." Lena crossed her arms, frustration rising despite the fear twisting in her chest. "And if I refuse?" A faint, almost amused smile appeared on Adrian's lips. "Then I'll spend the entire day convincing you." Lena let out a frustrated breath, running a hand through her slightly messy hair. Everything about this situation felt unreal. One moment she had been celebrating her birthday, and the next she was standing in a luxurious room arguing with one of the most feared men in the city. "You can't just decide my life for me," she said firmly. Adrian watched her with quiet interest, as if her defiance was something unusual. Most people in his world obeyed him instantly, but Lena clearly had no intention of doing that. "I'm not deciding your life," he replied calmly. "I'm preventing your death." "That's dramatic," Lena shot back, though the nervous tremor in her voice betrayed her confidence. Before Adrian could answer, one of the guards stepped closer and held out a small tablet. "Boss, you should see this." Adrian took the tablet and glanced at the screen. His expression hardened immediately. Without a word, he turned the device toward Lena. Her stomach dropped. The screen showed a blurry photo taken outside the party from the night before. Adrian was being carried by his guards while she stood beside him, clearly visible under the bright lights. And behind them, near a black car, a man with a camera phone had captured the moment. "That picture is already spreading," Adrian said quietly. "Marco's people are looking for the woman who helped me." Lena felt the color drain from her face. "So now," Adrian continued, his voice steady but serious, "you understand why leaving isn't simple anymore." For the first time since waking up, Lena had no argument left. Lena stared at the tablet for a long moment, her mind struggling to process what she had just seen. The blurry photo felt like proof that her life had suddenly stepped into someone else's dangerous story. Slowly, she looked up at Adrian. "So what happens now?" she asked quietly. Adrian handed the tablet back to his guard before answering. "For now you stay here." Lena glanced around the massive bedroom, the tall windows, the polished marble floor, the dark wooden doors guarded by men in suits. It felt less like a guest room and more like a carefully decorated cage. "And if they come looking for me?" she asked. "They won't get close," Adrian said calmly. "Not while you're under my roof." His confidence was unsettling. It sounded less like reassurance and more like a promise. Lena walked slowly toward the large window. Outside, the mansion grounds stretched across a vast garden surrounded by high iron gates. Security cameras were visible on nearly every corner. "You live like a king," she murmured. "A careful king," Adrian corrected. She turned back to face him, folding her arms. "I still don't understand why you care so much," she said. "You barely know me." For a brief moment, Adrian didn't answer. His gaze softened slightly as if he was remembering something from the night before. "You stayed with me when everyone else was panicking," he said quietly. "You didn't know who I was, but you still refused to leave." Lena hesitated, remembering faint flashes of that moment. Adrian stepped a little closer. "And in my world," he added, "loyalty like that isn't forgotten."